In 1989, the world wanted power. Sega's Game Gear flaunted a full-color backlit screen. Atari's Lynx promised arcade graphics in your pocket. Every company was racing toward the same finish line: more colors, faster chips, brighter displays. Nintendo went the other way. The Game Boy launched with a monochrome screen that couldn't even light up in darkness. It had less memory than a single frame of this video. Review magazines called it technologically inferior. And it became the most successful handheld console in history. This wasn't an accident. It was engineering philosophy made real. The Game Boy was the vision of Gunpei Yokoi, the man who created Nintendo's Game & Watch handhelds. Yokoi had a philosophy he called lateral thinking with withered technology. Don't chase bleeding-edge components. Use old, proven parts in creative ways. The reason was simple. Portability demanded a constraint that no competitor truly understood: batteries. In the early 90s, alkaline batteries were everywhere, and expensive. About 50 cents each, or over $1 in today's money. For kids with limited pocket money, battery life wasn't a feature, it was survival. The Game Gear used 6 AA batteries and drained them in 3 hours of gameplay. That's about $2.30 per hour. The Game Boy used 4 batteries and lasted 30 hours, 16 cents per hour of play. This wasn't luck, it was design discipline. While competitors chased performance, Nintendo chased endurance. The secret to that battery life? The screen everyone mocked. The Game Gear's backlit color LCD consumed 4.5 watts. The Game Boy's reflective monochrome screen, just 0.7 watts. But it almost killed the project. Early prototypes used 90-degree twisted pneumatic LCDs, liquid crystals sandwiched between polarizing filters. The problem was contrast. The voltage difference between on and off pixels was too subtle. The image was blurry, especially from angles. When Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi tested it, he canceled the entire Game Boy project on the spot. Then Sharp perfected something new: super twisted pneumatic LCDs. Instead of 90 degrees, these crystals twisted up to 270 degrees. The transition from light to dark became razor sharp with minimal voltage change. 4 shades of green, not through 4 voltage levels, through pulse width modulation. Fast pulses created dark pixels, slow pulses, light ones. Your eyes couldn't see the flickering, but cameras could. It wasn't beautiful, it was visible. And that made all the difference. Inside, the Game Boy ran on a Sharp LR35902, a hybrid CPU between the Intel 8080 and Zilog Z80, clocked at just 4.19 MHz. It could address only 64 kilobytes of memory. That's less than a single frame of this video. Yet programmers built Super Mario Land, Tetris, The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, and eventually Pokémon. How? Instead of addressing each pixel individually, which would consume 35% of available memory just for the screen, the Game Boy used tiles, 8x8 pixel squares, backgrounds built from a 32x32 grid, with a moving viewport showing only 20x18 tiles at a time. Characters like Mario were sprites, sets of 4 tiles that could flip and rotate. Line scanning, inherited from the NES's cathode ray tube TVS, drew the screen row by row. But clever programmers paused mid-frame to shift the viewport, creating the illusion of waves, curves, and parallax scrolling. Even the iconic boot logo was functional engineering. Those 48 bytes, the same in every cartridge, were compared against the system's internal copy. A single corrupted byte? The Game Boy wouldn't start. It became a ritual. Kids worldwide learned to blow into cartridges, reseat them, pray to the gaming gods. The Game Boy didn't just enforce quality, it created culture. Audio, 4 channels, 2 square waves, 1 programmable waveform, 1 white noise generator. That's it. No samples, no synthesis, no orchestras. Yet composers created Pokémon's town themes, Tetris's hypnotic melodies, The Legend of Zelda's adventure fanfares. Decades later, musicians would use actual Game Boys as instruments. The chiptune genre was born from these limitations. When you know your boundaries, you learn to master them. And then there's the build itself. No moving parts, no fan, no delicate ribbon cables, just thick ABS plastic, simple circuits, and buttons designed to be pressed a million times. The Game Boy wasn't just portable, it was indestructible. This Game Boy survived a bombing during the Gulf War. The shell melted, scorched black. But when museum curators powered it on, it still worked. Complexity breaks, simplicity endures. But what about games that needed more than 32 kilobytes? Pokémon Red and Blue contained 373 kilobytes of data, over 11 times the Game Boy's memory limit. The solution? Memory banking. The cartridge divided data into 44 banks. A small chip inside switched banks dynamically as you played. Opening the Pokédex? Bank 2B loaded, with descriptions for all 151 Pokémon. Entering a Pokémart? Bank 1, with item prices and shop logic. As you walked between Pallet Town and Viridian City, the game seamlessly swapped entire worlds in and out of memory. Engineers didn't see the 32 KB limit as a wall. They saw it as a puzzle, and they solved it beautifully. The Game Boy launched at $89, cheaper than every competitor. It sold 118 million units across all variants. But its real legacy wasn't sales, it was philosophy. Nintendo learned that power fades, playability lasts. The Wii brought motion controls to people who'd never held a controller. The DS redefined touch interaction. The Switch merged portable and home gaming. Every success traces back to this gray brick, the one that chose endurance over performance, accessibility over specs, simplicity over spectacle. In a world racing toward complexity, the Game Boy taught us something timeless. The right limitations don't constrain creativity, they set it free.